Hey guys, I have another off-topic commentary for you guys with some Battleground gameplay. And in this episode, I kind of want to talk a little bit about my history and experience on arenas and how I got to where I am today. As you guys all may know, I got my 3,000 rating and my second rank 1 title last season, the last season of MOP, which was kind of a goal that I never even knew I had, but it happened all so quickly. It was a pretty crazy experience, to be quite honest. So in this video, I want to briefly go over what I had to go through and the basic struggles that all players go through when trying to play World of Warcraft. So it all starts on Darkspear Alliance 2012. Actually, before that, I even played on some random shooting realm called Arthas. I was a Blood Elf mage, and don't laugh at me. I know Blood Elf, like what the, but actually the song MAGE. Have you guys heard of the MAGE song? If you haven't heard the MAGE song, I don't know what you're doing with your life. But now this is a very old school song. I think it's like a parody of the song Pimp by 50 Cent. And it's done by Nim, and he's just like rapping about like mages and like our life, and like it made me want to reroll mage and like burn shit. And so after listening to that song, I made a Blood Elf mage, and then at the time I started watching Swifty a lot. As you guys may know, Swifty, he had some really sick videos back in the day, like back in Wrath of the Lich King and a little bit of Kata. He had some really inspiring and epic videos. And after watching that, I found out he was on Alliance Darkspear, so I transferred over there pretty quickly, and I went Human Male Fire Mage. And if you actually go back to my older videos, you'll actually see my Human Male Fire Mage burning shit back in Kata, spreading combusts. Some pretty good times there. But yeah, my biggest goal when I transferred, like my be-all end-all goal, was to join Dara MacTyre. Does anyone remember that guild? I always looked up to the guys like Swifty, Sacred Heals, Self-Serve, Reinhardt, and all those YouTube guys. And ironically enough, like Dara MacTyre is like it's dead now in WoW at least. No one really talks about it or even remembers them probably. But yeah, that was my goal, to join them and make videos for them. That's when I first started my YouTube channel. But eventually, I think around mid-Kata, I finally joined Dara MacTyre, and I also got my 2200 achievement near the end of Kata, like season 11, which was the last season of Kata. And I was so proud of myself. I've never been so happy in my life getting 2200. And weirdly enough, I actually have a video of me getting 2200 for the first time, but the video is on private due to copyright music. But my reaction is so priceless when like the 22 achievement pops up, because I've been wanting it forever. And it's funny because whenever like my reactions when I got 2200 were so much funnier and like more intense than my reactions when I got 24, 27, 3K and rank 1. For some weird reason, my 2200 achievement reaction was just like, I was just so happy. I was so much happier than any other achievement I've done in this game. It's really weird. I think maybe because it was my first title and just like I've been anticipating it for so long. Maybe I guess like a great analogy is like you can compare like a little kid going to Disneyland for the first time, but as you get older and travel a little bit more, you like get desensitized to it, and like it's not as cool. Even though you appreciate it, it's just not as cool. So maybe that's how I felt. I was like a little kid going to Disneyland, getting my first 2200 achievement. But yeah, and then that's actually, I got awarded the gear. The gear that I always wear most of the time, the red robe with the pointy shoulders and stuff. Yeah, that's the Elite T2 Cataclysmic gear. So when you get 2200 plus in RPGs or arenas, you could exchange your gear from blue color to red. And now you can't even get that gear anymore because you had to have played in Season 11. Which is a big reason I like wearing that transmog so much. But anyways, after a while, Mists of Pandaria came out. And this is when I started watching live streams a lot more, specifically Rekful. And when I first found about Rekful, I've always heard of him from his like PvP rogue movies. I've heard of his name before, but I didn't really know who he was. But I started watching his live streams. I think he was playing a warrior at the time. He was an undead warrior. And after watching him, I was just astonished. I was mind blown, like how high like his MMR was when he played, and like the plays he was making, how fast his reactions were, like his fingers on the keyboard. And I was like, wow, like I was like really inspired by this guy. And it made me realize how how naive I was. I was so stuck in my little world, in my dark spirit world of Dharma Tire. I didn't even know there was more to it than that. But then I realized there was a whole new level of PvP skill with MLG players, multi-rank ones, things like I never even thought of before. I thought I was like the best fire mage because I was 2200 fire mage, but I didn't know that there was another side to the PvP community. So after that, I was very, very inspired. So a few months later, I actually ended up transferring to Tychondria's Horde. And it was a win-win situation because I actually been wanting to become undead for quite some time. I thought they were a very badass race. I always watched old school PvP movies, and all the cool movies of the mage ones always featured like a undead mage, and with like metal music blasting in the background. It just felt so badass. And so I was finally undead, but it was quite uncomfortable for me to transfer because all my friends and acquaintances were still back on Dark Spirit Alliance. I felt like I was stepping onto new territory. So it was hard at first, honestly. When I first got there, I was still a 2200 mage, so I pretty much queued trade chat all day. You know, the struggles that everyone has to go through. I would spam like looking for arenas, 2200 fire mage, like LF arena, 2.2k fire mage. And I probably shuffled through like over 50 different players at the time. I tried so many different comps, played with different experience leveled players. Sometimes it went great, sometimes not too well. And I started building my friends list a little bit more, you know, building that little snowball, making it bigger and bigger. And eventually I met this holy paladin named Ava. And he was a pretty good pally. I don't remember who we queued with exactly, or the other DPS. But I remember I really liked him, so we got each other on B-Tag. And one day he asked me to queue some God comps, so I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And I joined the group and the call, and guess who the Shadow Priest was? It was actually Dibs. And this was like 2 years ago too. And Dibs, that's when we met for the first time. It was chill. We queued and it went pretty good. And me and Dibs became okay friends, I guess. And then after a while, Ava, the Holy Pally, started playing less and less, and he eventually quit the game. So, and me and Dibs still like playing together. And funny enough, when Ava was telling Dibs, oh, let's play with this fire mage, he's 2200, and we should try it out. And Dibs was like, apparently Dibs told me later on, he was like, oh, he was like really skeptical about playing with me. He's like, he's only 2200. I just farmed him the other day. Like, I don't want to play with that noob. But then like we played him and did really well. And then Ava eventually quit, and then me and Dibs still wanted to play together. And we were like 2200 at the time still. The rating wasn't that inflated. So we were on the search and quest to find more healers. Then eventually, after queuing for months, or maybe like a month or two, we got our first 2400. We played with a shaman named Take Notes. And then he eventually left to play with other players. So we had to go on another quest to find more healers. And we then actually shuffled through probably like 30 different healers, 20 to 30 different healers at least. And eventually we ran into Shapes. I was actually playing like Demo Fire MLD with him, and I thought he was pretty good, so I'm like, let's play with him. And then there's just not much to it. We just queued so much. We started queuing every day for months non-stop. And eventually we got from 24 to like 25 and 26. And our rating just like skyrocketed to 27 eventually. And I was so happy when I got 27. I wanted the 27 so bad because that's like pretty much the last rating achievement in the threes bracket in your achievement list. So you know, I was actually aiming that for quite some time. And the coolest part about all this is all my experiences, like all my lows and highs and all the greatest moments of, you know, my past has all been documented, and you can find them all here on my YouTube channel. Like, you can go back and watch when I got my first 2400. You can go watch that game right now if you want to, or you can go watch when I got my first 2700. You can go when I've soloed 1v3'd in battlegrounds. Like, all these things are all here on my YouTube, so it's so awesome that I can just share all these things to you guys and that you guys actually watch it. And not only that, it's awesome, so sick that I can go back and watch my memories too. Like, I'm my own biggest fan. I love watching my own videos. It's like, oh my god, this guy owns. No, I'm just kidding, but yeah, you get the point. And then Dibs, Shapes, and I pretty much became like best friends. We talk every day, queue every day, and it was good times. I really miss Mob. I still do have flashbacks here and there of the good times we had. Every expansion just has such a different vibe to it. I'm not even talking about like the lore wise, but experience wise, like the people you meet and the things you accomplish. It's pretty crazy looking back at where I started back in Arthas as a 1700 mage that rated ICC, and then through Daria McTyre in Cataclysm, being a Swifty fanboy, and then like being a fanboy of Wreckful, finding out about all these MLG shit, and then making my way to 3K. It was a long journey. It was 2 years of hard work, which might sound crazy to some of you guys. Like, it's a fucking game. Who does that? But looking back at it, it was definitely worth it all. And even after that, a couple months ago, I went to BlizzCon. I even met Dibs in real life for the first time in like 2 years. We'd known each other for 2 years. We finally met in real life, and it's just crazy that all these all these things I've been able to achieve and accomplish. But that just goes to show that anything that's worth achieving or putting time into will take a lot of work and dedication and like discipline. Even though it's just a game, it still requires the same work ethics as other things in life. And now that there's a new expansion out, Warlords of Draenor, I feel like it's a fresh start. I feel like the struggles have started all over again. Not just for everyone, but I feel like especially for classes or specs like Fire, like the weaker underdog ones, because it's a challenge all over again. You know, I could always re-roll and stuff, but you know, I feel like going through the hard times like this and pushing through the challenge will make it feel so much more rewarding in the end. Like later on, you guys will see me become like high rated as Fire and achieve all this great shit. And it's gonna just feel so much better than if I were to just re-roll ret and just hit like 2800 or whatever. Not that I'm not saying I could, you know, you get the point. You know, talking about all this stuff is really just making me feel so nostalgic. You know, I wish there was a time machine already where I could just go back to the Cataclysm days, the Darkspear days, where I was like watching all these YouTube videos of all these players and being inspired by them. And it's funny because the roles have changed now, so I'm the one that people are watching, and I'm the one that has to have that that energy that inspires people to play, you know, Fire Mage and stuff like that. You know, time fucking flies, man. So the question of this video is, I have a question for you guys, just kind of as proof, or just to know how many of you guys actually made it to the end of this video. The question is, when did you start playing WoW, and what expansion was your favorite? Let's all get nostalgic together here. So leave your answer in the description below. I'd really like to know what expansion was your favorite. Like I said, I started playing in Wrath, so I don't have that many. I can't really say BC or Vanilla, obviously, but I'd like to say probably Mop was my favorite. The lore, I know everyone says the lore fucking sucks shit, but to me, playing WoW is not even about the lore. It's just about the experiences that I went through and the people that I met and the things that I accomplished. And I feel like I evolved as a player so much throughout that expansion compared to any other expansion, which I'm really grateful for. But yeah, tell me what your favorite expansion was and your reason for it, because I would really love to know. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next video. Keep burning shit.